You're in the middle of a work meeting when someone says something that hits you the wrong way. Your chest tightens, your face gets hot. You can feel anger rising, but you smile and nod because, well, you're a professional. Fast forward 3 hours. You're still replaying that moment, still fuming, still imagining what you should have said. The anger hasn't gone anywhere. If anything, it's gotten bigger. Here's what most people don't know. That emotion should have lasted 90 seconds. That's it, 90 seconds. I'm Shol, and this is Big Feelings Lab, where we take the latest research on emotions and translate it into tools you can actually use. Today, we're talking about the 90-second rule and why your feelings are sticking around way longer than they need to. Before we dive in, quick reminder, this podcast is about understanding the science of emotions so you can work with your nervous system instead of against it. If you're dealing with trauma or mental health concerns, please work with a licensed professional. Okay, let's talk about why your emotions feel so overwhelming and what to do about it. Here's the thing about big feelings. Most of us were never taught how to actually process them. We learned how to suppress them, distract from them, or spiral in them. But process them, that's a different skill entirely. Think about the last time you felt anxious. Maybe it was before a presentation, or a difficult conversation, or just waking up on a Tuesday for no apparent reason. What did you do with that anxiety? If you're like most people, you probably told yourself to calm down. Spoiler, that doesn't work. Tried to logic your way out of it, scrolled your phone to distract yourself, or just white-knuckled through it, hoping it would pass. And here's what happens when we do any of those things. The emotion doesn't go anywhere. It just gets stored in your body, waiting to resurface. This is why you can feel anxious about something that happened 3 days ago, or angry about a comment from last week. The research is clear. Suppressing emotions doesn't make them disappear. It actually makes them stronger and last longer. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people who habitually suppress their emotions experience more negative emotions overall, worse memory, and higher stress levels. So what's the alternative? This is where the 90-second rule comes in, and it's based on the work of neuroanatomist Dr. Bolte Taylor. She discovered something remarkable about how emotions work in our body. Here's what happens physiologically when you have an emotional response. Your brain perceives something, a comment, a situation, a thought, and triggers a chemical response in your body. Your amygdala, the alarm center of your brain, sends a signal. Stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline flood your system. Your heart rate increases, your muscles tense, you feel the emotion in your body. Now here's the crucial part. From the moment those chemicals are released, they have a 90-second lifespan in your bloodstream. 90 seconds for the chemical response to be triggered, peak, and completely flush out of your system. That means any emotion, anger, anxiety, sadness, fear, has a 90-second biological cycle. 90 seconds. That's it. So why do your feelings last hours, days, or even weeks? Because after those initial 90 seconds, you have a choice. You can either let the emotion complete its cycle, or you can re-trigger it with your thoughts. And this is what most of us do without even realizing it. You replay the situation. You imagine worst-case scenarios. You tell yourself stories about what it means. Each time you do this, you're hitting the chemical button again. You're restarting the 90-second clock. Think of it like this. Emotions are like waves. They rise, they peak, and they naturally fall. But when we get caught up in the story, the thoughts about the emotion, we're essentially creating new waves. We're keeping ourselves in the storm instead of letting it pass. Research from effective neuroscience shows us that emotions are actually quite brief when we don't interfere with them. It's our cognitive elaboration, the stories we tell, the meaning we make, the replaying we do, that extends emotional experiences. A study from the University of Michigan found that when people were taught to observe their emotions without judgment or elaboration, their emotional experiences were significantly shorter and less intense. This is what I call the difference between feeling your feelings and feeding your feelings. Feeling your feelings means letting the 90-second wave happen. Feeding your feelings means jumping back in the water over and over again. Alright, so how do you actually use this? How do you ride the 90-second wave without creating more waves? I'm going to give you a technique I call the 90-second surfing method. You can use this for any emotion: anxiety, anger, sadness, even jealousy or shame. Step 1. Name it. The moment you notice a big feeling coming up, name it. Out loud if you can, or silently if you're in public. This is anxiety. This is anger. This is grief. Why does this matter? Brain imaging studies show that the simple act of labeling an emotion activates your prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of your brain, and reduces activity in your amygdala, the alarm center. Researchers call this affect labeling, and it literally calms your nervous system. You're not judging the emotion. You're not saying it's good or bad. You're just naming what's present. Think of yourself as a researcher observing data. Interesting. Anger is here. Step 2. Locate it. Where do you feel this emotion in your body? Anxiety might show up as tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach, or tension in your shoulders. Anger might be heat in your face, clenched fists, or a racing heart. Sadness might feel like heaviness in your chest, or a lump in your throat. Get specific. Put your hand on the spot if it helps. This grounds you in the physical sensation rather than the mental story. Step 3. Stay with it. Here's the hardest part. For 90 seconds, you're going to stay present with the physical sensation. No analyzing, no problem solving, no storytelling. You're not trying to make the feeling go away. You're not trying to understand why it's there. You're just observing the physical sensation in your body. If your mind starts spinning stories, why did they say that? What if this happens? I always do this. Notice that you've left the sensation and returned to thinking. Gently bring your attention back to the physical feeling in your body. Breathe naturally. You don't need to do deep breathing or calm yourself down. Just breathe normally and stay with the sensation. Step 4. Notice the shift. Somewhere around that 90-second mark, you'll notice something shift. The intensity will start to decrease. The sensation might move or change. It might get stronger for a moment before it softens. That's normal. Remember, it's a wave. It rises, peaks, and falls. Some people describe it as the feeling loosening or releasing. Others say it just becomes more manageable, less urgent. This is the emotion completing its cycle. This is what it feels like to process a feeling rather than suppress it or spiral in it. Step 5. Return. Once the wave has passed, you can engage your thinking brain again. Now you can problem solve if needed, or decide on an action, or simply move on with your day. The difference is, you're no longer making decisions from inside the emotional storm. You've let the chemical response complete. You've given your nervous system permission to return to baseline. Let me give you a real example. Let's say your boss sends you a critical email. You read it and immediately feel that punch of shame and anxiety in your gut. Old pattern. You reread the email 5 times, imagining all the ways you failed, worrying about your job security, maybe texting a friend to vent, definitely not concentrating on anything else for the next hour. 90-second surfing method. This is shame and anxiety. You feel it as tightness in your stomach and heat in your face. For 90 seconds, you sit with that sensation. You don't open the email again. You don't make the feeling mean anything. You just feel the physical sensation. Around 75 seconds in, you notice the tightness starting to ease slightly. By 90 seconds, it's still there, but less intense, more manageable. Now you can reread the email with a clearer head and decide how to respond. The feeling still happened. You didn't suppress it, but you also didn't let it hijack your entire afternoon. Now, I need to be real with you about something. This is simple, but it's not easy. We've been conditioned our entire lives to either avoid emotions or get lost in them. Staying present with uncomfortable sensations for 90 seconds goes against every instinct you have. Your brain will fight you. It will want to jump to problem solving or distraction or storytelling. That's normal. That's what brains do. They're trying to protect you. The first few times you try this, you might not make it the full 90 seconds. You might make it 20 seconds before your mind wanders. That's okay. Just notice that you wandered and come back to the sensation. This is a practice. Like building any skill, it gets easier with repetition. Start with lower intensity emotions. Don't wait for your biggest trigger to try this for the first time. Practice with everyday annoyances, traffic frustration, mild disappointment, low-grade anxiety. Build your capacity gradually. And here's what I want you to remember. You are not your emotions. You are the person experiencing emotions. There's a huge difference. When you practice the 90-second rule, you're training yourself to be the observer of your emotional experience rather than being consumed by it. You're creating space between stimulus and response. That space is where your power lives. So here's your challenge for this week. Practice the 90-second surfing method at least once a day. Set a timer if you need to. Actually feel an emotion for its full 90-second biological cycle. Notice what happens. Notice what your brain does. Notice how the sensation changes. And then come find me on Instagram or wherever you listen to this podcast and tell me about your experience. I genuinely want to know. Did the emotion shift? Was it harder or easier than you expected? Remember, big feelings don't have to run your life. When you understand how they work, when you work with your nervous system instead of against it, you become so much more capable of handling whatever life throws at you. The research is clear. Your emotions have a timeline, 90 seconds. Let them complete their cycle. I'm Shul. This is Big Feelings Lab. Until next time, feel your feelings, don't feed them. If you found this episode helpful, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to go deeper into the science of emotions, check out the show notes for links to the research I mentioned today. Take care of yourselves, take care of your mental health. See you in the next one.